Hi, I'm Michael Day, a teacher, nature photographer, and traveler. This video is about exploring and photographing the elusive mountain called Denali. At the end of the video, there's a slide with information about my blog and how to contact me. If you'd like to see some other videos, hit that little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner. Thanks for watching.
A few years back, 5 companions and I traveled to Alaska, primarily to spend some time observing large brown bears fishing for salmon and to see Mount Denali. Lots of excitement enveloped us. Lots of rain enveloped the sections of Alaska we planned to visit. The time was early August, and for a week prior to our visit, a steady rain fell over Anchorage. I've since learned that on average, Anchorage receives 103 days of rain each year. So, we wished for the best, that the rain would eventually stop and we'd have an opportunity to see Mount Denali. The flying distance from Denver, Colorado to Anchorage, Alaska is 2,405 miles. Flight time, 5 hours, 3 minutes. Did you know Anchorage lies within 9.5 hours by air of nearly 90% of the industrialized world? Anchorage is the most populous city in Alaska, estimated 288,000 residents in 2019, containing nearly 40% of the state's population, which in 2021 was 731,545 people. Though we briefly visited the city of Anchorage, our last day in Alaska, our itinerary was 4 nights in Homer, directly south of Anchorage, and 6 nights near Denali National Park and Preserve, north of Anchorage. Now, Alaska is a very special place to visit. Remote, still rather pristine, and vast. Admitted in January 1959 as its 49th state, Alaska is the largest state in the United States, more than twice the size of Texas. East to west, 2,400 miles. North to south, 1,420 miles. Alaska is also home to the Alaska Range, a 600-mile long arc of mountains stretching from the Alaska-Canada border to the Alaska Peninsula, and where Denali, the largest mountain in North America, is located. Our drive south from Anchorage to Homer covered 221 miles and took about 6 hours. While in Homer, we kayaked around the coast of Yukon Island, mostly in the rain. And one day flew across the Cook Inlet to Katmai National Park and Preserve to see large brown bears catching salmon, again, mostly in the rain. Our drive north from Anchorage to Denali covered 265 miles and took about 5 hours. And for the most part, once again, all we saw was trees and all we heard was rain. But by the time we reached Denali National Park and Preserve, the rain was beginning to let up. We eagerly awaited the opportunity to see what the Koyukon people called Denali, the high, tall, great one. Note, the mountain was named Mount McKinley in 1897 by a local prospector in honor of then President McKinley's support of the gold standard of currency. The name was officially changed to Denali by President Obama in 2015. Before discussing further our quest to see Mount Denali, I'll share a few interesting tidbits, at least for me, about Mount Denali and about Denali National Park and Preserve. First, and perhaps most important for those visiting Denali, only about 30% actually see the summit. Denali is so massive, it generates its own weather, commonly resulting in cloud cover. I've read that all mountains influence local weather conditions, but Denali rises so abruptly and so high that this effect is more dramatic than perhaps anywhere else on Earth. The elevation of Denali is 20,310 feet, tallest peak in North America. Of the tallest peaks on each of the 7 continents, Denali ranks third, after Mount Everest in Asia at 29,035 feet and Aconcagua in South America at 22,829 feet. Note, if Mont Blanc in Europe is counted, I've had the opportunity to visit 3 of the other 7 summits: Mont Blanc, French-Italian Alps, Europe; Kilimanjaro in Tanzania, Africa; and Mount Everest in Nepal, Asia. Denali is actually the tallest mountain on land in the world, even taller than Everest. If measured from base to summit, it rises about 18,000 feet from its base, compared with Everest that rises 12,000 feet from its base at base camp, 17,598 feet. An illustration of Denali's size is Wickersham Wall, that rises in elevation over 14,000 feet from Peters Glacier to Denali's North Peak. Imagine how striking this is. Where I live in Laramie, we often hike 12,000-foot Medicine Bow Peak. That from lakes to summit has a dramatic 1,000-foot wall. Imagine that rise in elevation 14-fold. That's Wickersham Wall. That's Denali. Due to its size, on a clear day, which is rare, Denali is visible almost 200 miles away, including in Anchorage. Denali actually has 2 climbing peaks. The 20,310-foot peak to the south, commonly referred to today as McKinley Peak, and North Peak, the 19,470-foot peak, most visible when the cloud cover clears from Denali National Park and Preserve. The first attempted summit of Denali was in 1903, when Judge James Wickersham attempted to climb the north face, now named Wickersham's Wall. Due to avalanche dangers, this route wasn't successfully climbed until 1963. The first verifiable ascent to Denali's summit via the South Summit Peak route was June 7, 1913. More than 35,000 people have attempted to summit Denali. 60% of climbers succeed. Denali National Park was originally established as Mount McKinley National Park in 1917, while Alaska was a territory of the U.S. It was renamed Denali National Park in 1975, and Denali National Park and Preserve in 1980, when the park tripled its size. Over 600,000 people visited Denali National Park and Preserve in 2019. Nearly as many people as those who were living in Alaska at the time. In addition to the opportunity to see Denali, other park attractions include wildlife: caribou, beaver, grizzly bears, wolves, Dall sheep, 150 species of birds, and over 700 species of plants, including tundra vegetation resting on permafrost, permanently frozen soil. For most of the tourist season, mid-May to mid-September, only the first 15 miles of Denali's 92-mile park road is open to public vehicles. If you wish to go further, you need to travel either by park bus or by a van reservation shuttling guests to one of the few lodges located toward the end of the park road. To increase our chance of seeing Denali, we made a 3-night reservation at one of these lodges, the Denali Backcountry Lodge, located at the end of the park road in Kantishna. We spent part of our first day in Denali visiting Wonder Lake, elevation 2,001 foot. A charming spot with commanding views to the south of the Alaska Range, and, on a clear day, Denali itself. We did not see Denali on day one, but we did get a sense of what might lie ahead. The next morning, at the same site, we were treated with the first of many views of beautiful, majestic Denali. From Wonder Lake, you could also make out a number of other Alaska Range peaks: Mount Brooks, Mount Silverthorn, Mount Tatum, Mount Carpe, Mount Colvin, Karstens Ridge, a popular climbing route, Denali's South Peak, and Denali's North Peak, and the dramatic Wickersham Wall. Over the next few days, we hiked, ate, and rested in the powerful presence of Denali's Wickersham Wall. Alpha Ridge, and Friday Creek. But perhaps the biggest treat of all was a flyover of Denali and the Alaska Range when we exited the park. The flight over Denali peaks was amazing, but as striking and completely unexpected was flying over colorful Polychrome Mountain, the painted hills, as we left the park. What follows are some photos from our flight. Our final unexpected treat was to catch a glimpse at 2 in the morning of the Aurora Borealis, the Northern Lights. Marvelous. In so many ways, Alaska is a very special place to visit, and I long to return. That's our video. If you saw a photo you liked and wish a copy, visit my blog at michael-day.org, where you can contact me. The blog address may also be a useful site for those who would like to further examine the link between adult education, wonder, curiosity, adventure, and travel. Happy travels.